The word apocalypse is a Greek word that means unveiling or revelation. And an apocalypse is actually an unveiling of heavenly secrets in its theological definition. It's God opening heaven to reveal something.
Apocalyptic writings were suppressed by the authorities because symbolically they presented dangerous ideas, like the defeat of imperial tyrannies such as the Roman Empire.
And the revelation usually is about how soon is the end of the evil age that is all around us, this age of injustice and impurity and violence. It's not about the end of the world as we use the expression, it's about the end of evil. How long, O Lord, will it go on? God will overcome someday, but how soon?
We often see people writing apocalypses around times of great persecution. This is true of John's revelation in the Bible, as is true for the apocalypse of Peter.
In the 2nd century, many Christians believed the apocalypse of Peter was spiritually inspired. Perhaps this was the reason it was seriously considered for inclusion in the New Testament.
When Eusebius talks about the books that are accepted, disputed, and rejected, in the disputed columns, in other words, the ones that could go in or out, he puts the Apocalypse of Peter and admits it was very, very popular. In fact, he has more doubts about the Apocalypse of John, which is the one in our New Testament we call the Book of Revelation. He's very unsure about that, but the Apocalypse of Peter is really one he seriously considers.
Peter's apocalypse graphically describes the classes of sinners and their sins, their punishment, and the salvation of the righteous.
It gives a revelation of what hell looks like in gruesome detail. It's like looking at one of those medieval paintings. If you're a blasphemer, you're hung up by your tongue. If you're a fornicator, you are hung up by the appropriate male appendage.
We have people hanging by their hair, fornicators, people who are sexually attractive. We have people, usurers, being punished in their particular way. I believe they're up to their knees in filth, and various other things, blasphemers. And we also have, very specific to the Apocalypse of Peter, people who are being punished who testify against martyrs, who are people who led to the martyrdom of individuals, no doubt, in the community of the author of the Apocalypse of Peter.
Peter's apocalypse suggests there is a way out of punishment for evildoers. Perhaps it was this idea that led to its exclusion from the Holy Canon.
One idea in there, that after hell and heaven are established and there's a perfect world, if those in heaven look down and see hell and the evil one suffering there, and they ask God for universal redemption, to take everyone out of hell, they will get it. Now, this is an extraordinary idea. Peter, in the story, asks Jesus about this. Why are there so many people suffering down? He's very worried. He can't accept it. He can't be sort of vengeful and say, well, they had it coming to them. So he wants to know, how can this be? You've got a merciful, forgiving God, and these people for all eternity in hell? And Jesus says, well, it's like a secret. I'll tell you the answer, but you can't tell anyone. The answer is they will all get out. But don't tell anyone, because they'll just commit more sins. That's a forbidden idea, not just a forbidden book. It's a forbidden idea, because if you were to tell people they could get out of hell, then everyone's going to say, well, you can do whatever you want.
There was a second Apocalypse of Peter, a Gnostic text that contained yet another scenario of the end times. But, being Gnostic, it bore the stamp of heresy, and therefore was forbidden.
He calls bishops and deacons dry canals, and he's trying to stake out authority for the Gnostic movement. But the greatest feature of the Gnostic Apocalypse of Peter is this description of the death of Jesus, in which a human body is being crucified, but the real Christ is standing off to the side, laughing and mocking at this attempt to kill the Son of God, when of course in Gnostic ideology, the real Son of God never was human.
In fact, many other popular writings, like the life of Adam and Eve, the Book of Enoch, and the Infancy Gospels, were never seriously considered for inclusion in the Holy Bible. They are but a sampling of the hundreds more that are known today. Perhaps there are still more yet to be found. Possibly another ancient scroll lying undisturbed in a Holy Land cave, a book buried in the hot, dry sands of North Africa, a manuscript lost in a dusty stack of books somewhere in a long-neglected library.
We have to remember that the books that we have outside the New Testament are just random. They happen to survive. There are probably dozens more, hundreds more that are gone forever.
The Gnostic texts are finally coming to the attention of people. They were texts that were hidden away, they were buried in the sands of Egypt. There are Greco-Roman and Jewish and Christian, Islamic, Cathar materials all together in these texts.
I think when we only have the canon to work with, we tend to see early Christianity very, very narrowly. And the reality is, when we go back and we look at just this amazing variety of texts, that we understand that people had various different ways of looking at who Jesus was, what his relationship to God was, what his relationship to the individual believer was. And that, to me, is the tremendous loss of only having a select few books which have traveled through history in the canon.